Hello, my name is Afua Osei. I came in from Lagos, Nigeria, and I absolutely love mangoes. Anything mango, I want it. Juice, fruit, rolls, mango. Bring it. Thank you. When I think about African innovation, what comes to mind is solving problems in a way that is locally relevant, that is easily connectable with your audience, and makes it easy for people to live better lives. I don't think we need more ideas and businesses and tech solutions that don't solve real problems and make it easier for people to live, to learn, to work, to commute, to improve themselves. So for me, it's about just always thinking about how can I make someone else's life better? And of course, hopefully make a little bit of money along the way as well. When I think back to 2013, 2014, when the idea for She Leads Africa first came into my head, it was really about there's so many young women. They're smart, they're talented, they have ambitions, but they don't know how to get from where they are now to where they want to be. And so, yes, there was all kinds of conversations and, let's say, programs that were focused on women maybe in rural communities or farmers and agriculture. There's a lot to be done around women getting on boards and in corporate levels, but who was helping and speaking to those young women in the middle who, yes, they had finished school and they had jobs, so technically they were successful, but they weren't reaching their full and absolute potential. So that's where the idea really came about, is how do we help this missing middle essentially achieve their dreams? And every single day, what we wake up and we strive to do is say, how can we help a young woman climb the corporate ladder? How can we help her start that business? How can we help her start something from home because she wants to spend more time with her family? Essentially, how do we help more young African women have options so that they can choose to live the type of life that they want to live? The world is moving so fast, and unfortunately, some people will be left behind unless we kind of change the way that we approach education, unless we change the way our cities are created, unless we change the way that people are able to communicate and connect with each other. Unfortunately, a lot of young Africans will be left out of the tech revolution as things are moving along, and that's what breeds a lot of distress, a lot of unrest, a lot of frustration in our community. So some things that I would love to see is, one, when it comes to education, a focus on critical thinking skills, right? How do we help people learn how to solve problems independently so that we're not waiting on government? And I think in countries all across the continent, we've seen that government, unfortunately, cannot do what it needs to do all the time. So we need to raise a generation and train people on how to be critical problem solvers. When it comes to the way that our cities are designed, affordable housing, young people need to be able to live affordably. They need to be able to commute affordably until they have the money and the means to be able to invest in those bigger properties. But when we look at our cities, and in many places, it's all luxury, right? It's all, 5-bedroom houses and condos. And we're like, you're not really designing for young people to be able to come and contribute inside our societies. And then finally, when it comes to communications, why is data so expensive, right? If we want young people to be able to learn online, if we want them to be able to build technology businesses that can reach their global counterparts, they need to have the Wi-Fi and the data to be able to do it. So that, of course, requires the young people to be proactive about learning, but that also means that our infrastructure needs to support that development as well. Yes. It's so funny when I go to certain cities and I'm surprised by the amount of green, right? And you're like, wow, this place is so green, because that's not something that we typically see in many cities, right? Particularly as they're growing and it's fast, we think that recreation isn't important, sport isn't as important, so we don't have green space, we don't have parks. And caring cities, I believe, are those that think about productivity, but also wellness and health and peace of mind. So more green space, more parks, more areas where people can just go out and be. Many of our cities, the most popular place that you can go and hang out on a weekend is the mall. right? And that's such a commercial space as opposed to having open spaces for people to be able to connect and to be with the environment. I think another thing is around open places of learning. And we see that in the West, Europe, and the US, Canada. You know, libraries are a thing where people can come, they can use books, they can use technology equipment, they can host events for free, and so there are communal spaces where people can come together. So having those kind of spaces around cities gives young people, kind of people of every generation, an opportunity to come and connect and build those bonds. So when you know your neighbor, when you care about them, when you've met them, you're less likely to be rude, you're less likely to steal, you're less likely to have issues with them. So I would love to see more of those communal spaces where people can connect, spaces where people can relax and kind of be one, not just places where we work and hustle and make money all the time. I think every single sector is seeing incredible innovations that are so important. And what I think we have to realize is that this is still like the early stages, right? These are foundational companies that other innovations will be built on top of them. So one, when I think about healthcare, there's a company called LifeBank in Nigeria, which is all about having access to blood transfers. If someone gets into an accident and they need a blood transfusion, if that hospital doesn't have access to it, and it could be for a whole host of reasons. It could be electricity, so they're not able to store it. Maybe people haven't donated in that area. LifeBank can quickly transfer blood across cities to patients that are in need. And when we think about community and we think about as a people saying that someone is in need, someone has been hurt, how can we contribute and help that person? That's what LifeBank is creating, a standardized process and efficiency around that. Another thing that's so important is around payments, right? You can't run a business if you're not making money. And there are startups and entrepreneurs in every single corner of the continent who's thinking about how can I make it easier for a young entrepreneur to collect payments. Whether it's Flutterwave, whether it's Paystack, whether it's Amplify, there are entrepreneurs all across the continent who are saying, I want to make it easy for you to provide your product and service and get paid for that, regardless of where you live. Because big companies like PayPal, like Stripe, they don't really work for entrepreneurs in Africa, so we need homegrown solutions. I think the last thing that I'll mention is a company out of Kenya called Brick. And what they've done is they've created a heavy-duty, strong, durable Wi-Fi system. So it doesn't matter if you're in a rural community, if you're in the bush, if you're in a village, they're creating a system that allows you to still get connected. And that's something around not being left behind and enabling people wherever they live to be able to benefit from the beauty of the internet. And so I love that the innovations are cutting across health, to payments, to ICT, just all around thinking about how can we make this a better place. Yes, I would love to see more entrepreneurs focusing on kids tech, right? I don't know if that's the term that we use. When we think about this growing population, right, when we think about young Africans, they're tech savvy, right? They know how to use phones and devices, but when you open those devices, is there content focused on them, from learning to recreation to connecting with their teachers in schools? There's so much opportunity to be found in how do we help kids, right, and create products and services that are targeted to those children. I also think that there's a lot of opportunity around fashion, right, and from a productivity perspective, right, we have so many small-scale producers, but who is creating the processes, the systems, the infrastructure to, like, if you got an order from Zara and H&M, who's going to make it possible for you to actually get that order and produce and be able to continue to distribute all across the continent? So I think kids tech as well as fashion tech, those are things that are everyday things, right? People are having kids every day, right? We're wearing clothes every single day. But how do we create solutions that adjust those markets and make it more efficient and allow us to grow and scale as a continent? I'd love to see more entrepreneurs actually focused on women as a target market. I got a very funny message from an entrepreneur this week in which he was like, oh, women are not as active in the economy. You know, on our platform, we only have 30% women users, and we want to help women be more active. And I had to correct him in saying that just because you don't have women participating on your platform doesn't mean they're not active. You just haven't chosen to market and communicate to them effectively and efficiently, and that's why you're seeing that low participation. So I think startups that are focused on women at their core, I think have a lot of potential and opportunity to grow. We've seen that when it comes to healthcare and sanitary pads. There's an entrepreneur, there's a company in Kenya that's allowing you to order and buy your monthly products and just have them delivered to you so that you don't have to go to the store, and in case you're in an environment where it may be hard to find, it can get shipped directly to you. We're seeing entrepreneurs who are creating digital media products that are just focused on women consumers, understanding that the issues and the concerns that they have are different. Also, when it comes to savings, when it comes to investments, sometimes the priorities for women are different than they are for men. So that is also a great space that I'm excited to see more in. And then I think overall, when it comes to marketing and communications, I look forward to seeing less pink washing, right? Just because we're talking to women doesn't mean it has to be pink. So that, I think, is a great opportunity for creatives, for agencies, for brands to be more thoughtful and to be more considerate and saying, let's put women at the center and at the core of our problem solving. So from start to finish, we're thinking about them as a group of consumers who have independent ideas, who should be respected, who have a disposable income, and we want to market to them as such. I actually believe the best thing you can do is that monetary exchange, because so many women they just want to build a business, right? They just want to be successful. They want people to experience their products, and they want to deliver a good service. So if you have a choice and you have an option, I would say do some research and find a women entrepreneur, a women-owned business that you can support. I think secondly is that if you're in a position in the media, right, looking at who are you writing about? Right? If you have a top 10 list of the most interesting entrepreneurs, do you have women on there, right? Being more conscious and cognizant of the stories that we're telling and how we're presenting and positioning women entrepreneurs in the market. If you're at a company and you are hosting an event, right? Look at who are you inviting to speak, right? Who are you deciding are the experts in a field? All of those things contribute to the perception of how women entrepreneurs are building their business. It also contributes to credibility building. If an investor is looking for someone to put money in, they want to see that person that has press links. They want to see that person that's speaking. They want to see that person that has a wide consumer base. So things that you can do to help that entrepreneur get that credibility are so important. But also, just spending your money is good too. I think moving forward, we're going to see tangible connections. We're going to see tangible business opportunities. And I myself, I'm encouraging the women here to come and start businesses, right? To grow digital businesses across the continent, to see the opportunity, not just from a tourism and a travel perspective, but as a great place for you to do business and to be able to grow and scale. So I know there's going to be so many wonderful connections, and I look forward to being a part of it.